No, we gained actually. Record
Okay,
cloud.
just
Okay.
go to the verse, the 31, I think it is.
Yes. Yes, Bala, just give me one moment. There it is, Maharaj. Over to you.
Go right to the translation. By further transformation of the mode of passion, the sense organs like the ears, skin, nose, eyes, tongue, mouth, hands, genital, legs, and outlet for evacuating, together with the intelligence and the living energy, are all generated. The living condition in material existence depends more or less on one's intelligence and powerful living energy. Intelligence to counteract the hard struggle for existence is assisted by the senses for acquiring knowledge. And the living entity maintains himself by manipulating the active organs like the hands and legs. But on the whole, the struggle for existence is an exertion of the mode of passion. Therefore, all the sense organs, headed by the intelligence and the living energy, pran, are different products and byproducts of the second mode of nature called passion. This mode of passion, however, is the product of the air element as described before. Magyan timirandasya ganajana salakaya chaksun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutalai Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Name Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Satarine Vanchakopa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Pe Bacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So previously we had heard that by the transformation of the mode of ignorance, the different elements started to manifest, starting with the ether, air, water, fire, and earth. Now, the objects of the senses, or the sense organs themselves, here are mentioned: the ear, the skin, the nose, eyes, touch, mouth, etc. All of these are connected with the different elements as they manifest. So in um, this way the creation unfolds. It unfolds from subtle to gross. And we'll hear later the dissolution of the material energy goes from gross to subtle. Here, but it's all connected. But the second mode, as mentioned here, the mode of passion, which is the active principle. So all of these sense organs are manifestations of the active principle. The ear is for hearing, the skin is for feeling, nose is for smelling, eyes is for seeing, tongue is for tasting, the mouth is for speaking. So all of these different sense organs are now being generated. So these three modes are first created, and then from each of the modes, the manifestations. So you get an idea of what it's like, how the material energy unfolds. And there's nothing, and here it says, the whole thing is an exertion of the mode of passion, and the living entity is more or less using intelligence to counteract the hard struggle for existence by the senses for acquiring knowledge. and then manipulating. So that's what the living entity does in this, using these different sense organs. They try to manipulate the objects of the senses, guided by the intelligence in order to facilitate a type of existence that brings satisfaction and happiness. So that's the hard, as it says here, hard struggle for existence. Okay, let's go on to the next verse. Yeah. So we'll go right down to the translation. Oh, Narada, go down a little bit. I can't see the whole trend. Yeah. Best of the transcendentalists, the forms of the body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of material nature, are not assembled. So, yeah, before the body can actually come into existence, all of these other elements must be there. The different types of bodily construction of the living entity, exactly like different types of motor cars, manufactured by assembly of the allied motor parts. Yeah. So the different parts of the car is somewhat manipulated or put together by different parts. So all of these different senses, sense organs like that, are the different parts of the body. When the car is ready, the driver sits in the car and moves it as he desires. So this is confirmed in Gita 1861. The living entity is as if seated on a machine of the body, and the car of the body is moving by the control of the material nature, just as railway trains are moving under the direction of the controller. The living entities, however, are not the bodies. They are separate from the car of the body. But the less intelligent material scientists cannot understand the process of assembling the parts of the body, namely the senses, the mind, and the qualities of material modes. Every living entity is a spiritual spark, part and parcel of the Supreme Being. And by the kindness of the Lord, for the Father is kind to his sons, the living beings are given a little freedom to act according to their will, to lord it over material nature. Just as a father gives some playthings to the crying child to satisfy him, the whole material creation is made possible by the will of the Lord to allow the bewildered living entities to lord it over things as they desire. Although under the control of the agency of the Lord, little one, you went too far. I had it, but you jumped on. Living entities exactly like small children playing in the material field under the control of the maidservant of the Lord, nature. They accept the Maya, or maidservant, as all in all, and thus wrongly conceive the supreme truth to be feminine, the goddess Durga. So now you understand why people worship the goddesses, because these are representative of the Shakti, or the energy of the Lord, which is nature. The foolish, childlike materialist cannot reach beyond the conception of the maidservant, material nature, but the intelligent grown-up sons of the Lord know well that the acts of material nature are controlled by the Lord, just as a maidservant is under the control of the master, the father of the undeveloped children. The parts of the body, such as the senses, are the creation of the Mahatattva, and when they are assembled by the will of the Lord, that's Brahma's job, the material body comes into existence and a living entity is allowed to use it for further activities. This is explained as follows. So here we see how people accept the material energy as all in all, and their whole focus in life is to struggle with the material energy to arrange it in such a way as it makes it work for them and to enjoy. So you see there's so many attempts to exploit material nature by drilling into the earth, getting more and more material resources from the earth, assembling them into different things such as cars, computers, houses, various types of materials that are made up of these ingredients, earth, water, and fire, basically. And so it's almost, and the example is given here. The childlike materialists, they see the toys rather than the toy giver as being important. So therefore, they want to try to enjoy this material energy through the idea of lording it over. And the Lord, in order to satisfy the living entity's desire to do that, the Lord allows that. But the material energy works in such a way as not to fulfill the desires of the living entities to find happiness. So although they try to manipulate the material energy in so many ways, they can't bring about happiness, peace, and satisfaction by that manipulation. So those who are a little bit more advanced, they understand that the material energy is also personified, such as, Durga and Durga's different expansions, Saraswati, the goddess of learning, Durga, the goddess of the material energy. And so worshiping these different personalities through different types of pujas based on sacrifices, they want to get the favor of these living entities so they can be more successful in enjoying this material energy. So there's a little step up that they understand there needs to be some worship, some austerity before you can do it. Those who are more grossly oriented simply try to manipulate the material energy. And if they think they can, when they see they can manipulate it in different ways, they don't really know what to do with it through the manipulations, except try to create something that will either bring some type of material profit or some type of entertainment for the living entities in this material world. So this goes on, and that's called the hard struggle for existence. And they don't really understand that behind this material energy there is a controller. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sachiracharam. So this is very important for the devotees to understand, that we don't have to worry about manipulating material energy, because if we serve the Lord will arrange the material energy to work in such a way that is favorable for the living entities who serve him. So he does it automatically. We don't have to do it. And those who try to do it independently can't do it anyway, but they try. And devotees, they're not influenced or affected by the material energy because they connect with the source of the material energy. Of course, that's not the goal of the devotees, is to have a favorable material situation. But as the father wants to give some satisfaction to the children who obey him, he arranges the material energy to facilitate the devotee's desire to serve and to be happy in this material world through service of the Supreme Lord, like that. So this idea of manipulating the material energy doesn't work. Tasyaivo hetu pratitena kovido na labhyate bhavata uparyata talabhyate dukhanam anya sukham kalena sarvatram gabira haramhasa. Happiness will come, distress will come automatically by one's allotted karma. But when one takes to devotional service, then what is that verse in the Bhagavad Gita? What is it? By engaging in full devotional service, one transcends the modes of material nature and comes to the level of Brahman. So that's mentioned, I believe, in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that one can transcend all the effects of the material nature and come into the Sudaswap for pure energy by engaging in devotional service to the Lord. And then the material energy will, because she is made servant of the Supreme Lord, and when we serve the Supreme Lord and the Lord is pleased by our servant, the maid servant also gives everything that the living entities need and more to live in this material world and be happy. So devotees don't have to worry about the material energy. It'll work automatically under the control of the Lord as one engages in devotional service to the Lord. So devotees just focus on serving the Lord. That's all. And then they know that the material energy will follow automatically because she's made servant. She's not independent. She is given power by the Lord and also direction by the Lord, both. Okay, so yeah, so we can open it up for discussion.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, dear devotees, I would like to request you if you can turn on your cameras to make the session more interactive and personal. That will be much appreciated. And you can go ahead and ask your questions. If you are not in a position to speak, you can put your question in the chat window and I can relay on your behalf. Thank you. Shridevi Mataji, you have a question. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dinanath Prabhu. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, as we are hearing this description of all the ingredients that go into creation, I'm just needing a little clarification. I understand that all the souls are in the body of Mahavishnu, but all these ingredients, which is material nature, like earth, water, fire, air, ether, they are in the Pradhan. And is the Pradhan separate from the body of the Lord? If so,
Yeah,
where is this energy situated?
yeah, it's a separate creation by the Lord. It's not in the body of the Lord. The Lord glances over the material energy, and by the glance, then that activates the material energy, which is in the aggregate state. Through the glance, the different energies start to move, and then it comes into and then the energies go into what is called the Maya, Mahatattva, and then the Lord expands to Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and from Garbhodakshay Vishnu comes Lord Brahma. Brahma's given knowledge by the Lord, Tene Brahmida Adhikapaye, within the heart. And then he learns who he is and what is his service. And then he takes all of these ingredients and formulates the bodies of the living entities according to their karma in their previous millennium.
So, this undifferentiated material mass, which is called Pradhana, where is it situated? Is it like, I know the Viraja river divides the material and the spiritual worlds. So, like, Mahavishnu is
But
in Karana.
these elements are actually spiritual because they're created directly by the Lord. Everything is spiritual that's created by the Lord, but when it manifests in its material realm, it becomes used in that way, and therefore it takes on a level. But everything is eternal. Even the scientists say that matter cannot be created or destroyed. That's a fact. You can change the forms, but you can't. The ingredients still remain in its atomic structure and in the basic principles, so it's still there. Just like if you take water, put it on the fire, and you boil it, if you boil it long enough, there'll be no more water left.
Right.
It turns into another substance, gas. There's different ways that the material energy, you take earth and you formulate it into, you mix it with water, and then you put it into the fire, you have a brick.
Right.
So what is the brick? It's just earth, water, and fire. That's all. But you can't see the ingredients. All you see is the outcome now. So everything has been transformed.
Mm. So everything actually comes, of course, from the Lord because He is the source of all material and spiritual worlds. It's just that the inert matter is activated by the glance of the Lord, and then Brahma, who is then created, goes on to fashion the bodies of all living entities while the souls are injected into them by the Lord. Right?
Well, that comes the souls come into the Pradhan, yeah.
Okay.
The
It's all quite
ingredient.
complicated and hard to understand, Guru Maharaj.
It's like just like when you create a child, the male connects with the female. The female has the body, and that is called the ovum. Or but the injection by the male activates the ovum, and then the child starts to grow. Same thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Uh, Maharaj, I have a question in this regards where uh, so if a living entity engages in service to the Supreme Lord, the parts and parcels, which are the devatas and all the other energies, the feminine energies, are they happy or do they provide obstruction in that progress? Do they
Can
get
you
it?
repeat? Can you
Ah,
repeat that
yes,
question?
Maharaj. So, if a living entity is engaged in, gets on a path of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, then are all the devatas and all the planets which exerts influence on the living entities, uh, do they become happy or do they go easy on that soul or do they become envious sometimes because they're progressing on path of bhakti?
Mm. Well, there's different ways to see it. Generally, the devas are devotees, so they also work under the guidance of the Lord, so they help to facilitate the devotee. But then again, they also have to work with the material energies. So the different powers in the universal affairs also are still working under the direction of the Lord to arrange for the activities of the material nature. So you still see devotees sometimes are there in droughts, forest fires, and various types of things because they're still working, and that's their job under the influence of under the direction of the Lord. But from the spiritual point of view, they can also help. If you pray to the demigods to give you bhakti, they may, because of their power, they may also bless you and help you in your progress in devotional service. They can do that. But then again, sometimes like there's examples where Indra becomes a little unhappy seeing a devotee making progress because he's afraid that person will be qualified to take his post. So he sends some kind of attraction to divert that devotee away from devotional service. So that's there also. But generally, the demigods are favorable.
Thank you, Maharaj. And the devotee should not be in anxiety or give a lot of thought about the negative influence of the planets. If you just be focused
Uh,
on service or how.
well,
Mm.
no, nothing. There shouldn't be any anxiety, that's for sure, and there shouldn't be any because in devotional service is meant to free you from all anxiety. So anxiety means I'm in control and I can't because I'm anxiety means I'm not in control, but I want to be in control. That's what anxiety means. I want things to happen in a certain way and they're not happening in a way, and therefore I'm in anxiety. And yeah, so sometimes we take some look into the astrological influence to see how the higher cosmos is directing the activities on the lower level. As above, so below, they say. So you can read the astrological charts and predictions and see how it influences both individually and communally, nationally, internationally, globally, universally. So the arrangements of the planets, which are influential, also indicate a certain type of direction that the material energy will be taking, like that. So there's auspicious alignments, just like when Krishna was born, all the planets lined up in a very auspicious way, and the star Rohini was in the highest place within the cosmos to indicate complete peace and complete auspiciousness. So when the demons are born or demons are coming, the planetary systems also align in such a way to indicate inauspiciousness or crises. This is astrology. But devotees usually don't spend so much time trying to study and follow astrology. Astrology can be used for when is the best time to get married, when is the best time to impregnate your wife so you can have a child, like that. These are astrological considerations. When is the best, even in the more subtle, even when is the best time to travel? When is it auspicious to travel? When it's not auspicious to travel? You can do that also. Just like it says that if you travel on Thursday between the hours of 4 and 6 p.m., it's not recommended because you'll usually have some problems at that time. And or if you travel on Ekadasi, they say that's not also going to be beneficial. And there's so many examples devotees have had, I've also had, of, traveling on these days. But then if you have to travel on these days, then there is extra care taken. So one takes full shelter of the spiritual energy and is not affected so much by the material energy. I mean, I can tell you really funny stories about my travels on the Odyssey. They're just hilarious. At least now they're hilarious. When I was in the middle of them, they weren't so hilarious. You go to the airport, it's the wrong airport, and then you go and you check in and they give you a boarding pass in the gate. You go to the gate and it's the wrong gate. So you go to that gate and then it's late. And then while you're waiting at that gate, they shift the gate around. So you finally get on the plane and you land and you find out that that the people who were supposed to greet you went to the wrong airport. This happened to me, This is when I was coming into Delhi. It was like that. So that was Ekadasi. And I was thinking, yeah, Ekadasi. So, now, Prabhupada, he respected these different omens. For instance, when he wanted to travel on Thursday, to indicate he's leaving on Wednesday, he would take his shoes, point them in the direction that he was going to travel on the following day, indicating I'm leaving on Wednesday. So these little things are there. There's omens. If you get quivering in the left side of your cheek, you should know something inauspicious is going to happen. There's so many. You see a person carrying an empty bucket, that's inauspicious. If a person carrying a full bucket, that's auspicious. Deer is passing on the right indicates auspiciousness. In the Western countries, they say, don't walk underneath a ladder. That's inauspicious, right? They talk about Friday the 13th. So, all these things are actually indicates of how the material energy moves at certain times. That's all. So if you want to get into it, you can bewilder your mind with all of that.
Mm.
But if you just stay fixed in chanting Hare Krishna, you can transcend all of these things.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. We have two questions. So Shakshi Mataji, you can go first, and then Meenakshi Mataji, you can go afterwards. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Hare Krishna to all the Vaishnavas. So Maharaj, my question is, how do the different modes acts upon a conditioned soul? Like I know that, please correct me if I'm wrong, our desires, it turns into our actions, and that's how the modes come, modes acts. So please, if you can little bit more elaborate.
Your desire and your desire attracts a particular mode, and then the action manifests. That's all. So yeah, be careful what you desire. What can we say? On a material level, your desires and your activities based on your desires will connect you with a particular mode of nature, either goodness, passion, or ignorance. Amrita Sundari, what's wrong with your child? He's going crazy there. Get him off the camera. Okay. So, yeah, so, yeah. We're not independent. The only independence we have is our desire. You can always choose how you can desire. If you're influenced by something stronger than your desire, then you become implicated in that activities also. I desire not to eat another sweet, but somebody comes up and hands me this really tasty sweet and says, this person gave it to me, and here I'm sharing it with you. And you eat it, and then later on you feel like, I ate it. It tasted good, but I don't. In other words, even though you have certain desires, you're also influenced by your association. So always take association with devotees, and then you'll be influenced, at least generally in the right way. Not always, but
Thank you, Maharaj. That's very helpful.
just be careful how you desire, that's all. It doesn't mean just because you desire, you're going to get a reaction based on that desire. And there's another thing called first deserve, then desire. First deserve and then desire. If you don't deserve what you're desiring, you may not get it. You may get something
So, Maharaj,
different.
how do we check on whether what we are desiring, do we actually deserve it? How do we check on that?
You'll know when you don't get it. Can't check on that ahead of time. But you can see. That takes a little intelligence to figure that out. They say intelligent person sees the result before the activity. Therefore, they're always cautious when they do something, what will be the result? cannot not always know the result, but based on your experiences, you can, to some degree, understand. But don't worry about it. All you have to do is just desire to serve Krishna, and you're okay. Desire to chant, desire to associate with devotees. Then you don't have to worry about the results. It'll always be auspicious. But if you desire something material, then there's no guarantee what will happen.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Meenakshi Mataji, you can go ahead and ask your question. Oh,
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada.
Where are you?
I'm actually in the hospital, Maharaj. I delivered a baby girl yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. But she's actually in the ICU because of a few complications. So just seeking your blessings and prayers, please. And from all devotees as well. They will keep her under monitoring for the next week. And then let us know how to proceed from there.
Okay, just pray to Krishna to bless the child so that child can grow up and become a nice devotee.
Okay, yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Right after her birth, they took her to the neonatal ICU, so didn't even have much chance to see her or interact. So just in a little bit of grief and anxiety. Because during the birthing process, her heart rate dropped, so she didn't get enough oxygen to the brain. So there's going to scan for any brain developmental concerns, and her lungs also took in some of the waste material. So she's on oxygen support from birth. Hopefully she progresses well and they may not need it later on.
Okay, we offer at least I offer my best prayers that by Krishna's mercy, she'll be fine.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Rest peacefully. Krishna's in control.
It's true.
Krishna is controlling life and death, not the doctors. The doctors are just instruments. It's Krishna.
That's very true, Maharaj. Just being on the human level, we have anxieties, and being a first-time parent, it's even more anxious. But yes, thank you for your prayers and blessings.
Yeah, rest peacefully and just chant the holy name.
Yes, Maharaj, even during the process of her birth, like we had the Mahamantra playing, Vishnu Sahasranam playing. But yeah, let's see what Krishna has plans on.
Yeah, leave it up to Krishna.
Alrighty, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
We can't control this material energy. It's not within our power, but Krishna can.
That's right.
Okay. Soumya Datri, I got some response from the doctor. He checked all of your things and he's going to send some medicine here to Mayapur, which he thinks will help your situation. So he already looked. He already looked at all of the things that I sent him. And the thing is, we have to see how long it takes to get the medicine here.
Okay. Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay.
Thank you.
Sri Devi, you won't recognize your apartment when you come back.
Really? I'm quite happy for it to be whatever way you want it to be, Guru Maharaj. I don't really care about anything except your comfort.
No, I understood today why I was given this apartment. So I could fix it up and straighten it up and clean it up and organize it. So we spent the whole morning doing that. It was fun. We won't touch your room though, because that's your sacred space. But
Nothing is sacred, Guru Maharaj. The whole house is yours to do with as you please.
all right, I'll send you the bill when we're done.
Oh my God. Krishna Chaitanya. Oh, Krishna. I'm so embarrassed, Guru Maharaj. I feel I'm not a good housekeeper, nor am I a good cook, I'm not a good anything. So what to do now?
Yeah, you need some disciples to come and help you. It says preachers, they have to focus on the main business is preaching. So their personal life sometimes is up in the air.
Krishna. It is honestly, I have to say, Guru Maharaj, I have no other interest. Honestly, I have to admit that. I really couldn't care less about anything else except what I have to do to get on to the class and, deliver the message nicely.
Yeah,
Really, I have no
don't
interest.
worry, I understand your situation. If you weren't preaching, then the bill would be twice as much. Preachers, there's no rules and regulations for preaching. If you're preaching, everything is taken care of. Don't worry.
Krishna, Krishna. Of
Prabhupada
course.
said, Prabhupada used to say that, but he said, don't take advantage. Preaching is so dear to Krishna that even if your material life is messed up, it doesn't really make a difference.
He completely messed up my material life so that I could preach Guru Maharaj.
You won't recognize your apartment when you come back. You'll think you're in the wrong place.
Wow.
No, we didn't move anything around. We just made some adjustments.
Is it better for you this way? Are you more comfortable this way?
Well, it's cleaner. That's the point.
Oh my God. After all the cleaning I did, it needed more cleaning. It's like the Gavira pastime or something. I mean, Gundicha Marjana pastime.
Yeah, this one would be Lord Chaitanya would spend maybe not one day here, maybe a week.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we still love you. Anyway, we had fun today. Tomorrow we're going to finish. We got more work to do.
Oh, Krishna, Chaitanya, I'm so embarrassed, Guru Maharaj. Please
I
teach
didn't do
me.
anything. Teja did all the work. He's there online. You can see him.
Oh, poor Teja. Teja, I apologize most humbly. Maybe please you can teach me what Guru Maharaj has taught you so that you can be my guru for all the work that you did and I can learn something from you.
He was in bliss.
Oh, okay.
He was.
How can anyone not be in bliss right next to you, Guru Maharaj? It's not possible.
You can speak. You haven't spoke to everybody yet. Okay.
times I wish I were in the male body. I would be stronger. I would be able to do so much more for you. But now what to do? I'm like this, Guru Maharaj.
The problem with being in a male body, you have to deal with females. That's the problem. So stay where you are. You won't have to.
Maharaj, there's a question in the chat by Dheeraj Prabhu. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Following up on question on Shakshi Mataji's question, the question from him is our spiritual desire and bhakti not strong? And is that the way, is that why we are dragged away by material nature?
Yeah, that's true. Your desire has to manifest in the form of your consciousness and your activity. If you're always engaged in devotional service, then well, it's not possible to be always engaged in devotional service as long as you have material desires that you're trying to fulfill. You can't stay engaged fully in devotional service. What is that verse from the 7th chapter, Bhagavad Gita? I think it's 728.
Let me bring it up, Maharaj.
I think it's 728 or 729. I'm not sure.
729 is intelligent persons who are endeavoring to get out of the cycle of birth and death.
No,
Engage in,
not that.
not okay.
Tesham twantagadam papam jnananam karmana te danda tvam muktas yeah. Tesham, I think is the first word. Yesam twantagatam papam jnananam pura karmam tve danda mohane muktam bhajate mambat. So here's the answer. Persons who acted piously in previous life and in this life, whose sinful activities are completely eradicated, were free from the dualities of delusion. They engage themselves in my service with determination. So as long as we haven't reached that stage of purification, we'll be up and down, still going back and forth between material and spiritual. So yeah. So here the answer is in the next paragraph. If one wants to be liberal, he must render service to the Mahatmas. Mahatma Seva Dharma Hormi Mukta. But one who associates with material people in the path of darkness is there. Tumo Dwaram Yositam Sangi Sangam. It says it's not possible to understand. Let's see. Unless one is reinstated in his constitutional position, it's not possible to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead or be fully engaged in this transcendental service with determination. Unless one is reinstated in this constitutional position. That means service. But you can't stay fixed in service if you're still associating with and trying to fulfill material desires. It's not possible. Forget about material desires, even if you have them. They'll be there, just forget about them. And just engage in devotional service. Don't try to fulfill your material desires. Stay fixed in devotional service. Then you come to the Brahma Bhuta Pad. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatmana Sochati Nakangshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Lavate Param. Go to 1426. I think that's the one. If I'm right, I'm not sure about that one. Let's see. That's it. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevati. Sagunam samatityai tam brahma bhuyai. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and comes to the level of Brahman. In other words, one comes to the transcendental platform by being fully engaged in devotional service. That's it. So don't buy into the material energy. That's all. Stop trying to fulfill material desires. Doesn't mean don't take care of the body. That's what it doesn't mean that. It means do what is necessary to maintain body and soul together, and then put your consciousness fully in the fire of devotional service. That way you can burn away all of the contaminations that come by way of previous associations with material energy. So these verses, these are all spoken by Krishna. Any questions? Just stay engaged in devotional service. That's all. Every minute. Either think of Krishna, chant Krishna's name, do some service for Krishna, something connected. And learn how to use your ordinary activities like eating in devotional service. Do everything in connection with Krishna. That's bhakti. That's all. Krishna's activities are known as bhakti yoga, always acting for Krishna. Always acting for Krishna. Well, and it takes association to give you that environment where you can always act for Krishna.
There's a question. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. All glories to all of the Vaishnavas. Guru Maharaj, every day I always like pray for many others. But when it comes to prayers for myself, I feel like, Krishna, I don't want to pray for anything because but my desire is that I just want to be able to fully embrace what you're constantly giving me and learn the lessons that you're teaching me. So I have two questions. One is there anything wrong with that? And B, how can I do or achieve that desire?
Yeah. Desire is fueled by proper association. Desire is also fueled by meditating and thinking about the instructions given in any particular situation. Just like any service you can do, you start thinking, what is the instructions of the spiritual master in relationship to executing this particular service? And it's all there. You just have to know that. But in the association of devotees, you get nourished. And because that in that association, the mood of service is prominent. And chant more, perfect your chanting, read, think deeply about what you're reading, try to understand how it applies, and then learn how to apply it. All these help us to go deeper into the process of bhakti.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Does that help?
Yes, thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu. So any other further questions, clarifications, dear devotees? If not, then Maharaj, with your permission, can we conclude today's class?
Yeah. I have another thing coming up very soon. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय।